have refused to do their jobs as mandated reporters to assist me, a disabled victim. All they had to do was their job as a mandated reporter. The first time I was sent on the loop around in this bullshit with Latham and Molly and Tom. Instead of betraying my trust as a natural born American citizen, cops, all of these places use the excuse that I'm sane to deny me the rights of a disabled person. The first thing they notice is that I'm intelligent. So they abuse that intelligence and pretend that I can't be disabled and that they don't have to do their jobs for a disabled American because he's intelligent. They don't have to do their jobs as mandated reporters they use the excuse that even though I have the paperwork that shows that I am an at-risk adult, that I get a paycheck for being an at-risk adult. I also have evidence of people ripping me off for those paychecks of an at-risk adult and child abuse. That's right. My predators, a lot of them are child abusers. Jamie Clayton Kingery, Joshua Rayborn, Brianna Ingersoll, Christine Bouhit. Christine Bouhit's dead, so is Brianna Ingersoll. Good riddance. Is that the proper response? No. That's not the proper response. Just because they were child abusers doesn't mean I didn't love them. When I was saying that they were alcoholics and that I understood, I wasn't making excuses for them to abuse others. Understanding it doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. Understanding that you're trying to drown out your sorrows because you can't see your two sons by getting drunk, watching the Bates Motel, taking advantage of your friend who came down to help, abusing him as well as those kids, and then playing victim. I recorded calls to the police all over the place where I tried to turn this in. The thing is that what Waylon Lolotai did is a felony in the Boulder Hospital, and all of the harm that entire night, the whole time I was incarcerated, never once was my side of the story ever fucking considered. All they had to do was call me mentally ill, and instead of having to do their jobs as mandated reporters, they would just not release the body cam videos and pretend that they had caught a murderer who is insane. That's gaslighting, you son of a bitches. I went to all of these mandated reporters about the abuse. I went to them over and over again. I tried to turn them in while I was in jail and get pictures taken of what was done to me. And you just let them over and over again, just like you let them before Natalie was killed. You just let people hurt me. You just let them. You made me jump. Look at the hell that Joanna Taylor Smith made me jump through for her help. Did she ever find out what was going on and all of that? No, she didn't. She didn't fucking care. She thought her pretty white girl words magically changed the whole world and the whole universe. And magically, everybody is treated the way that a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl from fucking Nederland, Colorado with rich parents is. My friends wouldn't listen. They wouldn't stop talking over me. You have no idea how overwhelmed I already was to be overwhelmed further. How scared I was that people were going to talk over me when I was talking to Miss Peaches. And for once in her life, she was actually listening to me to try to understand, I thought. When you go to your friends or family for help, and instead of helping you, they just want to talk over you and tell you it won't do any good because the system is corrupt. No, it won't do any good because you're a fucking pussy. You like the way I said that? It's rude and inconsiderate. Meow. Your cowardice isn't my fault, but it hurts me greatly. You want to pretend that it's my fault that people threatened to kill you and your family. And you said Sean wouldn't hurt somebody like that. But you didn't go in with me to tell the cops or the courts, so they just continued to pretend. I literally had to scream for help. I told what was going on Facebook and on YouTube, and that evidence is still there. They just blow off everything. Like, I don't get to tell them what's going on because I don't get to tell details because I'm interrupted. Zachary Johnson typed, "You're such a cute kitty cat. Meow for me." Meow. There you go. Dude, please help turn this in. Please. Instead of letting them harm me for trying to turn it in and talk over me and send me to places that are committing fraud, help me. Why do we have such a shortage of defense attorneys in the United States? There's no money in it. You're gonna lose. The majority of people arrested today are homeless. The majority of those incarcerated were homeless when they were arrested. Defense attorneys don't make shit off of those guys. They have to become public pretenders. And a public pretender doesn't get to keep their job. The reason they don't get to keep their job is because as a public pretender, you guys want to tell me about your overwhelming caseloads. You get to see how at every level they made every clerical mistake that they possibly could to misinform me, my friends, and my family at every level. See, that's the thing about when you're an at-risk adult who's being abused. Your side isn't heard. Nobody fucking cares. You were blown off by everyone. Something should have been done about that bullshit all the way back in Virginia. I needed help. But even in Virginia, the cops didn't give a shit. They still committed crimes. Like, you don't stop to understand. I can't take care of myself. I need assistance. I go to work because I'm forced to work, but that doesn't mean I'm capable. If Brenda Dickinson wants me to go clean her house every single day, well, she has me get into some funky positions and some crap. Stuff I'm not really able to do, stuff that'll lay me up for a couple of days. I knew that it was risky to act like my predators to try to show evidence. I knew it was risky. But I have to get the evidence seen. My friends and family don't care. So, what happens if I kill myself? Nobody will care about it. It won't matter. You don't stop to see how I needed one friend, not 50 people, all fucking telling me what to do at once, all calling me at once. You don't understand the hell that I was going through when Natalie died. How many people were trying to destroy evidence, threatening to kill me and my family, offering help, but then they ended up being fake accounts. Some of these scammers like Layla Johnson still exist. It's Layla Doonan now. Before that it was Missy Johnson. Dan Favorite spoke about her. I was able to verify the things that I told you, the things that you all called me liars for. I spent 6 years showing you I told the truth. Spent 6 years showing you what hell it really is. 6 years showing you how the more you ignore it, the more complicated it gets. 6 years showing you the more I go to these mandated reporters and am blown off, the more scared I am to go to them. 6 years you get to see my friends blowing me off at every single corner, talking over me in the exact same way as my predators do. You can see how the conduct of officers towards homeless people, how they're barely even a little bit nicer if they know they're being recorded live. But if they're not being recorded live, their conduct is far worse. And it's even worse than that if they know they're not being recorded at all. They often assume that. They assume that homeless people are stupid, and most of them are. When an officer lies to you, and instead of looking it up, you just believe him, but then the next place tells you something different about what the law says. This isn't okay. How many of these people in places have used the excuse, the reason that they're neglecting me is because they don't have the resources? Well, they're spending a lot of resources. A lot of resources to lock up these mentally ill people over and over and over again. until they finally have nothing but hate and disdain for law enforcement. They say they hate the police, but they're not afraid of the police. They're not afraid of the police. No. They hate the police because they're afraid of them. They're afraid of them because they've seen this their whole lives here in Tillamook. And all these people say, you don't have any idea, dude. You have no idea. Tillamook is bad. Tillamook is really bad. I'll just assemble a jury of good old boys. You can't take nothing to trial here. Are they really going to make it a trial of your peers? Man, most of these fucking poor people, they're sitting in a jury box, they're not fucking listening to it. What they're thinking about is, man, I'm not getting paid nearly enough to be here, and I got fucking kids. When you complain that there's no black people, it's an all-white jury. What about an all-housed jury? People who don't know the reality of homelessness. There's some people that are homeless that were on drugs while they were out there, and the only image that they have of the homeless is all of the druggies. Well, that's the only homeless they hung out with. Also, none of the law enforcement here can be involved in the collection of the evidence against them. Adult Protective Services by law has to. Even though they committed crimes against me, they have to help turn it in. They have to get a hold of APS. In every single one of my court dates, they refused to allow my evidence in there, and they used the reputation created by the situation with Natalie Bollinger and those false arrests, with Waylon Lolatai, and the situation at Clearview. The evidence shows that I was stalked, not Natalie. The evidence shows that people were threatening to kill me, not Natalie and her family. People were threatening to kill me and my family, and that's what the evidence shows. The evidence shows that we were friends. Shows that I did get a phone, and Alicia changed it over. It shows that I told the truth, but nobody would listen, nobody would look. No matter how hard I tried, my resources were denied over and over again. It was too unsafe for me to go see people who kept me safe, for Christ's sake. The people who I kept safe wanted to tell me that they were too afraid. And there's a lot of people who just threw me away outright because I was being negative. No, I was trying to get help. Being negative is when you make excuses while trying to help them. The legal way doesn't work. Let's take a look at my paperwork here from the hospital. Now, this is the stuff that I have been typing about on my page, on my Facebook. I've been typing about this stuff since I got a Facebook. I've known the mandated reporter laws for a really long time. There's a lot of stuff I wasn't familiar with. Like, I knew about abuse against the elderly. I didn't know it was called elder abuse legally. You know, I was always... When people talk about it in general, they use the loose term, you know. It's not elder abuse. That's very square and formal. Abuse against the elderly is oftentimes what these agencies say. Abuse against the elderly. They should call it elder abuse. And the thing that confused me about that was the people trying to tell me about the elder laws. No, this This is not the same. I try to explain to y'all that it's close, but it's not the same. And the variance, the subtle variance of who you're supposed to contact and how it's supposed to be conducted are very important. And to give me this is very misleading, because it sends me to mental health when it says the disabled ones. They didn't pay attention at the hospital. No, they absolutely did. They knew that the paperwork for a disabled person was what I needed. Physical disabilities and the paperwork for mental disabilities. But they didn't give me either of those, did they? They gave me the paperwork for the one thing that I'm not. Elderly. I'm not elderly. I'm disabled. All these clerical errors. I was repeatedly denied all of my rights, no matter how hard I tried. And even with all of the overwhelming evidence of how hard I tried, when I was illegally prevented from going to court, denied those rights, cut off from my resources, over and over again. There are things that you think are yes or no questions, but they're not. Like, did Alyssa Rainwater or her mother ever give me money while I was in Arapahoe County Jail? Her mother claimed that she did, but there's no evidence of it. She never provided any evidence of it or tried to turn it into the police. They cut me off from having the money to contact the people that I needed to contact. But if you ask me if she sent the money, I have to say I don't know. She claimed that she did, but it never showed up. Then, did her daughter send me any money for the phone? Yes, she did. After it was already too late for me to contact any of the places that I needed to contact. I was incarcerated, so I was prevented from contacting the people that I needed to contact. The other courts that I had court dates in, all of it over having to flee abuse, but law enforcement doesn't care. Law enforcement will harm you anywhere from being homeless. I was trying to get help and having to flee the areas where I was being abused while being told I have to go to the areas that I'm being abused to turn in my predators to my predators. Please, God, fucking kill me. That's how that feels every single moment. And here you sick, perverted shits are watching this for entertainment. I don't have a place to process these videos. You guys do. You have homes. You have ample time. You have the electronics. You don't have the need to move this stuff with your disabilities all over the place every single day in order to try to find a place to do it. Holy shit, fucking help me. And I've been begging Dallas to go in with me since the day that shit happened. The day that stuff happened with Molly over there, and he was there in the parking lot for it, him and a lot of his friends. And he was gonna, and he was gonna, and he was gonna, but for the last 6 months, he never did. Scott Scudder was gonna, he never did. Scott Scudder's entire family was there and was gonna. They never did. I tried to get them to understand. Instead of telling me to ignore it or go in alone, I needed someone to go in who knew what was going on and cared. But no. What happened when Mr. Scudder went in there with me to TCCHC? He sat as far away as possible and ignored me. There was no fucking reason for him to be there being useless like that. I didn't even be there to fucking speak up that I was telling the truth so they'd take it seriously. He didn't even try. My entire life I've been victimized because I didn't have a family who cares. And that never changed. I exist when they want something. I shouldn't have had to pay my sister to care. I shouldn't have had to pay my sister to look at evidence, but she literally wouldn't do it. She came over so fucked up and just wanted to hang out with Ed. She just wanted to get paid so she could leave, and the recording shows that. She hadn't done anything all day long, but I had to pretend that she was doing something. Finally at noon, I fucking turned off the camera. I kept the audio recording device going. And they literally did not care. Once the cameras were off, it was all about them talking about them and their own personal shit, and literally they didn't stop to listen to me. God damn it. You victimize the homeless by calling us all mentally ill. If we try to tell on you because you broke the law to harm us, well, you just have to take it. You are never going to have another chance at life again if you're homeless in the United States. It destroys that much of your reputation and people's assumptions rather than your situation is what you are judged by. Assisted termination of life should be legal. It's traumatic for me to try to tell my story. It's hard enough without interruptions. And when people are interrupting me to lie to me about the law or to sell their own narrative over the top of what the evidence they refuse to look at shows. For 7 years, these mandated reporters been playing hot potato, including Brenda Dickinson. Sure, she helped me with stuff, but she never helped me to turn it in. She's one of those, oh, I'm sorry type fucking punks who hides behind the Jesus when they're too much of a bitch to do their fucking job as a mandated reporter. Oh, in Jesus' name, she's one of those people who's fucked up on pills and fucking negative all the goddamn time. What you guys want to pretend is me being negative is me being positive. If we work together, then we can put a stop to this. When you make every excuse not to try and not to listen, not to find out what I'm going through before you talk over me and tell me what to do, what to think, and what to feel, tell me everything about you for hours on end, you're showing what it is that puts us at risk. You are showing what it is that makes us the most likely to be shot by police. When people are allowed to harm us whenever they want, and then they pretend like they're afraid. They are afraid. My predators are absolutely petrified of me. That's why they call me mentally ill. I'm not trying to go out there and kill one or two of them. I'm trying to take them all down. There was a guy who, I think he called himself TARDIS. He's got a blue police call box on the front of it. And I was telling him about that. He was saying, why don't you just get a shotgun and go shoot them? I was like, well, dude, you only get away with maybe one or two before you get busted. You also deprive your friends and family of a valued soldier, a valued loved one, somebody who genuinely cares about them. Prison is always a last resort. One thing I can guarantee you is that if I go to prison for the rest of my life, it won't be for murder. It'll be for acting like my predators. Yeah, the irony in it. You want to tell me, oh, that's not illegal, that's not illegal, that's not illegal. Really? I bet you it is. I bet you it is. I bet you if I just threaten to do such a thing, they'll arrest me for it. They're also going to do what? Over and over and over again. Drop the charges, drop the charges, drop the charges. When the evidence showed that they really fucked up, their own evidence showed they really fucked up, yeah, the only thing they could do is keep on letting people harm me themselves, deter me from turning in my predators. Each mandated reporter telling me it's not their job, they don't have to follow the law. Cute, right? I don't always have the ability to record. Battery life and all that. You don't understand that there's a statute of limitations on all this stuff, and although there's really not because I am disabled, there is a statute of limitations on when they're allowed to destroy evidence. When I say a voice for the voiceless, you see how hard I try to get heard. I don't mean heard by you fucking dumb cunts. I mean heard by somebody who actually cares to do something. Not just anything at all at random. The one thing that these people who did a whole bunch of stuff, we had to do everything they wanted to do. The one thing I needed their help with was turning in my predators to mandated reporters. That's what I needed them to do. Help me to do that. Look at evidence and help turn it in. You make a person who has been abused to the point that he can barely speak most of the time. And that's the easiest thing for me to do. Me and Natalie were friends because her family and friends were fucking evil. From my birthday, October 18th of 2016, until the day Natalie was killed, her friends and family and their intervention for her safety robbed her of the one good person that y'all had left on this fucking planet. These preachers are no good. They're sinners. And the worst kind of sinners at that. I went to the preachers as mandated reporters. They all lied to me, and they're recorded lying to me. They wouldn't do anything about Robert Franklin Warnick. I've got many, 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 many other victims of Robert Franklin Warnick on my channel, including Lori. And the guy she was talking about, Otter, he's on my channel. There's also that James feller, I can't remember his last name. And then there's Molly in the shit that she did with Alexander. He's recorded talking about that, and Molly's recorded doing it, so. Between you admitting that it happened with me, which takes 10 fucking seconds, and me having to go through all of this hell and spend all of this money to try to electronically record everything and turn it in myself to be fucking blown away. Brushed off. You see how hard I have fought to show the truth. Please, for God's sake, get assisted termination of life legal for all of us. My friends showed me that they didn't care who hurt me. Every single one of them. The easiest thing for them to do was to call up the police with me and tell the police that I'm telling the truth. Before Natalie was killed, I was harmed in multiple jurisdictions nationwide. Well, not quite. I was harmed in Virginia. I was harmed in Colorado, and I was harmed in Nebraska. And all of those places before Natalie died, I saw therapists. I saw police, and they gave me resource lists like they do everywhere. They're not going to investigate any crimes against you. They're not going to find out what the truth is. They're just going to send you on to mental health, who's going to collect free money for not helping you. How much money do they spend every month for us to go to therapists? The therapists get paid and we're still homeless. We're sent to therapists when somebody assaults us, and we go to the therapist and they set us up for therapy. We're sent to them because they're supposed to be mandated reporters and they're supposed to help us with this stuff. But instead, they set us for therapy, without a friend or family member to listen to what's going on and try to understand it. I have to be afraid to make decisions because I can't. I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to have a friend or family member help me because I can't function.